Okay, let's talk about some of the differences. So they don't have an answer to the Twisted Fate, which again could be a flex pick, so it's going to be even more dangerous on this side. Because if you aren't going to ban Brand on this side, then there is a possibility that this actually just gets picked up here. Like you pick TF, and then you have an AP jungler, and it gets flexed into R5, whether it's top or mid, right? So there's a lot of danger, I think, to having the TF up. LeBlanc has been Caps' kind of go-to champion. They just got devastated by the side laning. But Kalista up once again. This isn't a champion that Ice has preferred, and I don't think it's good for BDS. They want Varus. Their priority is probably for AD. It's probably Ashe is greater than Varus is greater than Jhin. Okay. They are not a Kalista team. They play control, engaging AD carries.
Varus is what BDS are going to prioritize here. So
for picks.
G2, the ball is in your court if you want that Brand yourselves as well. This, which we saw last game, and then the knee.
Kalista, not a surprise. They are G2 is the Kalista Aphelios team. They take the Cassante blind. Ori coming back. Ori and Blitzcrank. Blitz was banned last game, so they really want the Varus Blitzcrank into Kalista, but we'll see if they go for a tankier. Yep, they're going to go with her a tankier support, knowing that perhaps the supports will be banned in the second rotation.
You know, his double jungle ban towards it. No, they want the Poppy. They feel like it.
Yes, they have to ban. This is smart. Remember how the Poppy was picked in the first rotation last game? Poppy is a huge problem, can get out of control, especially if she's allowed to gank the Kalista lane early. And you have to assume that's going to happen because Varus Blitz is probably going to be pushed back to turret, and they'll be looking to make plays on an extended lane. So do not let them have the Poppy. And they picked Blitz here, so ban the Poppy right away. Hui has been... And one of, I think Caps has 100% win rate. He's 3-0 on it, I believe.
I'm really kind of scratching my head at what exactly G2 will go towards as a prio. Lilia. So they're going to go for Eve. Okay, so that is Lilia Yone? Is this what this is?
It's another G2 classic. We've seen it before. We know how well they can play on these duos.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely can. And Lilia's the kind of champion.
All right, so here's the Lilia pickup. Tristana mid.
Goes to all in him once the level 6 rolls through. So I feel like that's not going to be an issue.
In LCK, we have seen the Gnar do pretty well into Cassante at times. Sheo back to the early game duelist. They want to focus bot side, get some pickoffs early. Xin Zhao has been his bread and butter. Twistana? Yone?
It just makes too much sense.
Do it.
And it's the most fun by far. Oh, wow.
That makes it even more fun, doesn't it?
All right, well, so we have the... I was not expecting that, guys. It is a Caps classic, okay? Oh, are we going to go Caps Cassante mid? Oh, my God. Unbelievable. All right. Fucking G2, man. They are so smart. This team is so well coached, and their players have such great champion pools so they can do this shit. It's so good, guys. It's so good. Their prep is so good. Let's talk about this. Okay, so you pick Cassante, right? They pick Gnar, anticipating that this is going to be a counter pick. We have seen the Gnar do very well into Cassantes in certain matchups. It was kind of the original Cassante counter pick, right? Then, let's talk about this. This is the classic. If you guys have been watching League of Legends for a long time, you may not know this. This is the classic Yasuo counter pick to Gnar in the top side, right? And the reason why, if you're curious, you're like, well, Gnar is ranged and he's going to be running fleet footwork and, you know, he can just kite the Yasuo. The reason why is because Gnar is reliant on his boomerang, okay? And boomerang has a very long cooldown, like what, 20 seconds or so? If you don't catch it, all right? And if you do, and what prevents you from catching it is it being wind-walled by Yasuo. So he basically cannot boomerang in this matchup. So Yasuo just kind of shits on Gnar. He shits on Gnar. It's very, very hard for Gnar to play the game. Now, do you have problems such as Well, what happens if Yasuo potentially overextends? Is he kind of vulnerable to gank, right? Yes, I mean, he can be, but also, you know, top lane's more isolated on the new version of the map than it used to be. So we haven't seen a lot of Yasuo topside since those changes. And you know what else you've got here, which is really good, is you actually have a lot of enabling for Yasuo ult, right? You have Q3 from Cassante. You have lots of knockups or knockbacks from Cassante. You have Callista ult. You have Braum ult. These are all excellent setups. And I think you can probably anticipate that they get a Lilia sleep into a multi-man knockup. Like the combo is kind of crazy, potentially. Because it goes sleep, long-range engage of sleep, right? Into knockup. Into Yasuo ult, right? So the combo can be really devastating. It's hard to set this up, but if they can set it up, it could be just one-shot the team, right? Lily also, I assume, very annoying into Xin Zhao because she can just kind of kite him all day, right? And we actually have pretty bad engage here. If we look at the BDS side of things, the Xin Zhao is basically the only real form of primary engage here. Maybe you get a chain of corruption, you get a hook off. So this is basically, again, it's a pick composition, right? They're trying to get picks.
This is what they do.
Guys, setting up a team fight reliably or having a reliable ball delivery system, because Xin Zhao, his engage is entirely gated by his ultimate. And he actually has anti-synergy in some ways with Ori, because if the Xin Zhao goes in and hits ult, he's going to knock everybody back, potentially out of Ori ult range.
No, I feel like, to me, BDS are really honing in.
And how do you actually get through wind wall here, right? You have to, like, your Varus poke, you got wind wall. He's going to be good in lane. Like, this is some fucking good flexing from G2. What a brilliant red side draft.
They can play sides, they can play team fights really well. They've got decent amounts of pick through those ultimates of Lilia and Yasuo. So I'm very, very worried for BDS. They're going to have to try and force G2 into opportunities where they can actually 5v5.
Well, let's see if G2 can move on to match point as we hit.
Would Nocturne have been better here for BDS? But they don't play Nocturne. So, that's not their style, guys. Remember how I said at the beginning? Their style relies on Shio playing Vi, Xin Zhao, or occasionally Poppy so they can have success in early game skirmishes. They're not a team fighting team.
Well, they've got decent amounts of pick through those ultimates of Lilia and Yasuo. So I'm very, very worried for BDS. They're going to have to try and force G2 into opportunities where they can actually 5v5.
Well, let's see if G2 can move on to match point as we hit the rift for game 2.
It only counters Mininar, but yeah, but that's like 90% or 70%, well, like 70% of 75% of the laning is just Mininar. Why do they prefer Lilia in a Brand meta? Because Lilia can set up the knockups with ult. Brand doesn't have AoE CC to set up ults.
It's spicy, I'll tell you, but I don't think it's as threatening as the previous draft.
Any tips for sleep deprivation? Well, I have sleep deprivation from having a newborn, so you tell me. If you don't have baby screaming, though, maybe some, just like melatonin. Don't use electronics before bed. Don't watch my stream before bed. There's a tip for you.
Yeah, because he got left alone. Nobody fist bumped.
Fun fact, though, we saw the Nah locked in for Adam. I was like, Adam? Nah? Had a look through his history. This man has 15 games across his career with an 87% win rate.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Watching a screen before bed doesn't affect me, says Goat Scuffle. Not knowing whether blue light actually affects his REM sleep or not. How would you possibly know that?
It's the silent G. It's the silent G.
Everyone remembers Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. No one remembers Artemis, you know?
The big three, man.
Doesn't 100%. He's positive, guys. He's done the research. Because I'm no punk bitch. Yep, great answer. I love it. I love it.
Rob stepping forward there briefly. immediately sees a Braum and goes, yeah, never mind.
Fucking magnets. How do they work?
Level 1. And yeah, Cassante mid, we were talking about it a little bit while the desk was doing picks and bans. If you're wondering how, let's remind you of the new season. Is there an item that comes to your mind? Say it with me.
Analog Bot, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Levoluted Heretic gifted a sub to Goat Scuffle. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Thanks, guys. You're very generous today. I appreciate that. It's making me feel better about Kansas City winning the Super Bowl.
I'm pretty sure it was Chovy that just solo killed an Ariana in this matchup on Cassante. That was before Kanik Rookham was a thing.
Yeah, and to be fair, last year when Cassante mid was good,
Yeah, man, I'm so actually psyched for this series. I've been loving. I love what we saw in game number 1. I love this draft. G2 too good, man. We're still seeing some of the Gen G still plays Cassante mid lane too right now. This year, obviously it was really common for Chovy last year, but very common this year. Werewolf lol, thank you for Twitch Prime sub.
Oh, he doesn't know. Knockup's good. Sheo can just make wind become lightning. Broken Blade will surely become
But if he takes it, he does flash over the wall.
Dash through him. Flash over. Flash
Oh.
over. But that's a red.
Q.
The red. Extra Q.
Ah! Well, there's the long lane problem with Yasuo, but maybe we'll get some action in the bot lanes here.
Here comes Lilia. Fawn on the
Mickey's
way in.
dead. Can they get ice? They can.
Get one back. LeBron, the last man standing, left all alone under his towers with no carries left.
So 1-for-1 in the bot lane, a successful gank in the top side of the map. Sheo looking for another play though.
Adam, a little bit more damage, follow up there. Q3 available, fired back onto Adam. They just want to push this wave in.
That's the thing, they get the TP still for Adam, so chip damage on BB is actually just going to stick around and be super nice. So Adam getting a great advantage now in this top matchup, which BB has played before, but definitely had a better time in that matchup, I'll say. Whereas on the bottom half of the map, things went very differently. But we're just going to see Sheo. I mean, nice gank timing. Manages to get up here, and there's nothing BB can do in this position.
Yeah, I
break this down, Betty. What happened here?
So there was a
I mean, it's a level 3 gank. He went 3 camps directly into gank. You don't expect him to do this.
Sheo knew the moment that he went over the wall, there was an opportunity for Broken Blade to flash. So he immediately flashes to close that gap, and then Broken Blade tries to flash away. The red buff, though, acting as an effective throw. Mickey diving this deep was surprising, because it ultimately entered a 1-for-1.
It's worth it, though.
Good news for G2 is it's AD carry for support trades, which means that some farm was lost.
Hans also got the kill, and it was Blitzcrank, and he lost the wave, so it's totally fine. You can see gold is even.
It's not that significant. Overall, I think BDS is happy with the overall trades that they got on the map.
It is a little bit of an awkward back timer, though, because he only has double longsword and not the full serrated Dirk. But again, yeah, I don't think it's the biggest concern. The one who has a much more unfortunate back is Broken Blade on the top side. Only a dagger and a refillable. You really want boots, too, as early as possible in 90% of situations as Yasuo, because it's just such a strong early purchase. Not having that on recall, not knowing when you're going to get that next opportunity for a clean recall, though it seems it should just be here.
Well, I like seeing what G2 has been doing in draft. Do you think any of this is helping somebody like BB get ready for international play? Why not?
And get a chance to reset.
Yeah, I mean, with the fact that the wave was coming bouncing back off, managing to pick up all that. Even
I mean, do we think he is terrible?
He's going to have a little bit of an easier time CSing some of this as well, because
Probably the best part of that team at MSI last year.
For himself to keep himself topped up, or
Worlds is a little rougher for him, but he had a really good MSI. Like, he looked fucking terrible in LEC playoffs for spring, and then he was epic at MSI. He was really good.
Even if you feel like you're getting a slight advantage and you have the push, and now you have Lost Chapter, you're going to feel like it's a little bit of a bigger advantage. Eventually, you're just not going to do anything to Cassante. And it is kind of just nuke versus the amount of money it costs to buy a Kanik Rooker. So for now, see if he can extend that lead any further. Level 6 now coming in. Shockwave, great opportunity. Unstoppable for Caps is clutch there.
Nice job.
I mean, well played from both sides. Nuke recognizing this guy's in kill range.
Wants the kill.
Ooh, goes for it. We'll take a tower shot, but he's not too upset about that. Nuke had a great laning phase in game 1, really bullying Caps out and getting a healthy lane lead. He's trying to replicate that performance in this game. Fortunately, with the TP going to come through from Caps, that damage isn't going to stick, and there's the early Merc treads. Now, Dragon being started off, fresh base coming out from Caps, but 4 members on this Dragon for BDS. Adam is here as well.
Adam on the way. No shockwave for Nuke, and G2 know it. Favored if they have equal members just because of the early power of the Braum and skirmishes, but Sheo very strong early on. Caps doesn't really have an angle in. LeBron now fishing for a hook. Can he hit Hansama? Flash out. He certainly could have. Flash will take Hansama to safety, and BDS just walk in and take the objective. Thanks for the...
There's the early Merc trades.
Yeah, so the pressure that's generated by this Orianna forcing the recall
Performance in this game. Fortunately, with the TP gonna come through from Caps, that damage
means that you just have priority right now.
Now Dragonine started off, fresh base coming out from Caps, but 4 members on this Dragon for BDS. Adam is
Kasante's not there.
Adam on the way. No shockwave.
And Nara's coming into the bot side. This is actually a very clever play. It's a very clever play. The other reason they probably don't go for this is because Nara is AFK. And because they forced Broken Blade's TP early with the kill, and they pushed it up, there's now like an opportunity for a free play here on the bot side. And that means Nar can pressure Drake to prevent the Callista stacking and then immediately TP back into top side. And you don't miss that much. So it's a really smart play by BDS, I feel.
Just because of the early power of the Braum and skirmishes, but Sheo very strong early on. Caps doesn't really have an angle.
Good move by Adam.
Fishing for a hook. Can he hit Hansama? Flash out. He certainly could have.
And G2 was aware of that possibility as well. I'm sure that Broken Blade was calling that in the top side, that Adam could be bot right there, so they just have to give it up. So again, we're in another situation where G2 is not getting their preferred Callista early Drake control.
So don't overextend to try and fight the dragon and then end up giving lives as well. So at least BDS, with the TP now back top, just bully G2 off. And BDS, I mean, again, keeping control of the early game.
Nice pushback, good damage coming in for Caps. Got to try to take him away from the tower. Is going to be able to do so successfully. Nuke forced to flash out.
Kazante.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen it once, and you're going to see it again every week until they nerf it.
So, I mean, control mage is also just kind of like, there's not much you can do against it, right? Like, it's just, if he's able to get that knock up and lock you down, you are just forced to flash. So, Caps will get the flash out from Nuke. Did want to just quickly go back because that play from Adam is something that we do see a lot from him as a player.
Why was Mahomes given Super Bowl MVP? We saw the Chiefs punter kick a ball 200 feet in the air and land on the foot of a 49er, causing a 63-yard fumble conversion to the opposing red zone and getting the Chiefs their only touchdown. I mean, who do you give MVP? The problem is that the Chiefs didn't even play well and they won the Super Bowl. So, like, who do you give the MVP to? You give it to Mahomes because he led the TD drive into OT. That's why you give it to him.
Contributed a lot to BDS's success this one.
I mean, I think it certainly has. And across the board, I think BDS have had just a fantastic regular season, no doubt.
Chris Jones. Jones is probably the real answer. I agree. Chris Jones had a mega game. He probably should have gotten. He probably should have gotten the MVP. I agree with that take.
For me is Nuke. He's doing well on this Orianna, but I think, as highlighted, is going to be in a really difficult situation the longer this laning phase goes on. That said, when you look at, you know, straight up simple front to back, it's easy to see how BDS win the game, and so it's on G2 again in this game, kind of as it was in game 1, to continuously split up the map and show us how dominant they can be in the mid game again and stop BDS from finding those full-on 5v5 angles.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that right now, moving up towards BB. Shale in position, though.
Tornado going wide is big there. Wind wall to block the boomerang. Another Q3 available. Finding those full-on 5v5 angles.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that right now, moving up towards BB. Shale in position, though.
Tornado going wide is big there. Wind wall.
Yeah, it was an auto, not the boomerang, but whatever.
Another Q3 available. BB's just, he's dancing back. He's just doing Yasuo things.
But this is the difference from last game, right? G2 feel less pressure to try and move down towards bot side because you got a Braum, you're not really going to be able to get very much down in that bot lane, and you've kind of neutralized that matchup with Mickey into the Blitzcrank, so you're going to be able to put a lot more pressure towards BEB in this top side and see if you can get that early lead. And once you do, it becomes very difficult to deal with this Yasuo as you start to get into the later portion of the games. And if you start to get like the knockbacks from Kazante, knock up from Mickey, big yike ults as well to try and set them up, they're in a great spot.
Knock up, stepping forward here. 3 stacks and concussive blows. Braum going to flash out to safety. Nice root coming in, just barely able to connect on a Hansama there.
Wow. Pressure coming down from the G2 bot lane.
I was just waiting for the group ups with this Lilia ult into knock up into Yasuo combo that I'm anticipating.
Just clearing out this vision. Dragon in about a minute 45. You imagine that'll be the next major objective. Is Caps in danger?
Caps potentially over eager here. Unstoppable going to take LeBron out. Fish for the 1v1. Unstoppable now going to go back in. Yike on the way.
Dragon in about a minute 45.
Nice job by Caps. Knows that Lebrov doesn't have flash. Immediately goes in. Knocks him over the wall. Then uses all out to get him over the wall itself. And it's free.
They're just gonna grab a quick support kill. They're not gonna finish off Caps. Clean combination over the wall. Is there any follow-up here? Piercing arrow gonna stop. We're gonna take LeBron out. Fish for the
Surprised
win.
Mickey X actually flashed for this.
They're just gonna grab a quick support kill. They're not gonna finish off Caps. Clean combination over
Because they really tried to save Caps there. Probably not worth the flash on Braum.
Ulti coming in from Callisto just in time to save the day.
I hate that. The fact that Cops is way overextended. He's like, Rob, get over here. We're going down.
I actually 100% think I know why Cassante is too good and will always be too good. You want to hear my thing?
Tell me.
He decides when you fight. He is a tank who ignores all damage until he decides it's time for you to fight on even terms. And so if you have hands and you're decent at this champion, you always get to pick good fights forever. And when you're not picking good fights, you are unkillable. You cannot die. You cannot be punished. So when you're playing Orianna, who has a very limited number of situations where she's like, yeah, this is a good fight for me, you're never going to have fun against a Cassante.
I mean, the good news is that Caps did end up losing his life in that exchange. Just sees the nuke, able to push out that wave, get a decent CS lead now, goes back on a nice base, has a decent amount of damage. So entering this mid game, she's going to be in a strong spot, which is ideally what you want for BDS, right? Their wombo combo is one of the biggest strengths of this composition. We've seen them execute this same or a similar draft to this before, where you have the Xin Zhao engaged, the Orianna.
I think you've even got the opportunity to try and unlock Labrov a little bit when it gets towards the mid game too, where if you can link up with Shale, you just try and fish for hooks over the walls. Like if you spot Yike, if you can try and catch like BB overextending the side lane, like you actually have members that you can very quickly catch out once you're playing away from.
I was listening to Dracos' monologue. It's pretty true about Cassante just being a giga tank that doesn't get punished, so you can just decide when you fight every single time.
Problem for them is if BB can get this lead in the top side, and at the moment it's somewhat there, but it's not massive where they have to be concerned at the moment.
Yeah, crazy how close so many of these early 1-1 should just be the score on Drakes. See if they can get anything else. Only the 3 Void Grubs coming across thus far.
Looks like BDS have their eyes on top. You see LeBron making his way up there. The Grub's going to be spawning any second. Should be an easy cross map. Will they go for the dive as well, though?
Grubs, I think, a pretty low value for BDS, though.
The problem is the amount of control they have. You can see Cassante now feels very confident to get that push. Broken Blade recognizes that he is in danger. How would G2 cross map? The problem is there is the cross map. Look, BDS have actually sent Ice up towards top lane as well.
And G2 already got the bot lane objective, so it's really easy for BDS to force a dive, get a tower, and get the 6 Grub buff, which is pretty significant at this stage of the game. Bar's going to do a lot of damage to this tower as well. Alongside Adam, we'll see how many more plates they can get down. They're starting the Grubs at the same time. So in the tower race right now, BDS...
The problem with Kansas City, guys, is not only the amount of holds they get away with, but because Patrick Mahomes knows that if he runs the football, nobody can ever actually just pancake him, right? Because they'll just... It doesn't matter if he, like, lowers his shoulder and he's running down the field. Nobody can actually touch him. You have to, like, gently pick him up and put him on the ground. And so he just gets extra yards for free. Because otherwise they just call roughing the passer... They just call a penalty, and then, like, and then he gets another 15 yards at the end of the play. It's ridiculous. Like, his treatment is so absurd.
I think that's the thing right here. You get the push on top. You get the extra advantage now.
I watched that last drive, and the Niners are, like, trying to tackle him as gently as possible, so he just abuses it, and he just, like... he'll lower his head and just, like, run around. Like, everybody's just scared to actually hit him because the refs always call it, even though he's a runner. He should get wrecked on these plays, but they call penalties. It's garbage.
Is not good. Every single one of their champions pretty lackluster compared to their opposing number. G2 though just trying to force the objective down. Try to bring BDS to them. Brokeplay trying to get a little bit of mid-power, or at least match what Bars is bringing to the table as Mickey just threatens. Nuke now coming in, level 11, 2 points in that shockwave. Sheo looking to be the ball. Try to bring BDS to them. Brokeplay trying to get a little bit of mid-power, or at least match what Bars is bringing to the table as Mickey just threatens. Nuke now coming in, level 11, 2 points in that shockwave. Sheo looking to be the ball delivery system, but they don't want to burn it on a single target. Instead, the objective is the focus, but only one jungler's next to it for now. Yike now prancing his way in. Caps fishing for a flank, looking for the angle. G2 ready to force the fight. They've already gotten the Herald. They want to get
Adam sold mini. Why are they fighting? Why are they fighting? Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? Why are we TPing? Thank you, Shobes. When the game went to OT, I threw up and went home. That's how I felt too, man. I knew it was over for the Niners when it went to OT.
for the angle. G2 ready to force the fight. They've already gotten the Herald. They want to get a little bit more. Shale isolated. Nuke nowhere to be found, and the jungler is already dead. It's too late for BDS. A split call overall, and now Orianna going to be the one in trouble, looking for a little bit of
Oh, Lord.
Why
Why are we all in on this fight?
It's three immediately into the wall for follow-up, but now they've been brought back. A clean combo. Cassandra and the Yasuo to bring them out of the fight, but BDS are there.
They're still dead.
After 2 games, they're finally finding their fight, but it's G2 coming out top.
Yasuo's still here, buddies.
2 Q stacks, 1 Q stack, ready to go. Wind wall, fourth concussive blow. He just needs to land the Q, but he doesn't quite have the timing. Vicky looking to land the Q over the wall. He does.
There you go. Nice slow.
That's been his stun coming in. A fuck kill follow-up is there. Yike on a rampage. G2 getting the fight.
A perfect war placement for Caps to come into the fight means that BDS have to abandon everything.
But now they've been looking.
Such a weird fight, though.
BB TP'd in. I think Hans needed to stick around for a little while, but either way, because Varus is reset quick.
I mean, you have pressure in bot side. I don't know why we're trying to send this game for a Herald when we don't have Mega Gnar up as opposed to just pushing into bot side.
BDS to them. Brokeplay trying to get a little bit of mid-power.
If we're BDS, I mean.
Bring to the table as Mickey just threatens. Nuke now coming in, level 11, 2 points in that shockwave. Sheo looking to be the ball delivery system, but they don't want to burn it on a single target. Instead, the objective is the focus.
You know, because Gnar walks away, there's a free TP for Cassante. But Gnar is mini because he walked all the way across the map and he hasn't had a chance to charge up his Gnar bar. And you have the anti-synergy, right? You have the anti-synergy of Sheo with his ultimate and the Oriole. So there's actually nobody in there. And they just bang him. Nuke isn't even around. Very strange. Very strange that they would opt into this engagement.
In trouble, looking for a little bit of follow-up here. Nuke gonna be forced to flash out of safety. The rest of BDS now trying to find the backside. Eyes on Adam. It's 3 immediately into the wall.
I do like that they combo the Cassante ult knockback with the Yasuo ult, right? To get everybody into the two, or to get them into themselves into a 2v1 with the Gnar.
They're ready to turn. After 2 games, they're finally finding their fight, but it's G2 coming out top. Eyes on Broken Blade. 2 Q stacks, 1 Q stack, ready to go. Wind wall, fourth concussive blow. He just needs to land the Q, but he doesn't quite have the timing. Vicky looking to land the Q over the wall. He does manage to connect it. He's going to be in trouble. That's been his stun coming in. A fuck kill follow-up is there. Yike on a rampage. G2 getting the fight.
A perfect war placement for Caps to come into the fight means that BDS have to abandon everything on the Rift Herald, and they just
I don't know why we don't just try and bot pressure there and just give up Heralds. Why are we so greedy if we're BDS?
But you can see here, BDS, they're able to contest the mid push. Yike flashes over the wall, and with that then G2 and the TP coming in. BB, great flank position. Caps, great flank position. Nuke separated from the team. And it means that this isn't an even fight for BDS, even though all members in theory are present.
Love the re-engage from BDS though. Nuke, yeah, he has to flash away here, but look, a bit of a blunder. Mickey ends up going into the wall, so the follow-up can't come through the flash, but then watch Adam here. Beautiful 3-person ultimate. Locks them down. And that means that Adam is then dragged away, but he's able to regroup with his team. It's at this point where I'm thinking G2 don't actually quite have the damage. They get that execute down onto Caps, but now
I think it's having a Lilia and these, like, as the skirmishes fall apart for chase down is so good. Good play by Mickey, by the way. Q over the wall.
It ends up being a single kill in favor, and the Herald going to G2. Very close back and forth exchange.
And I'm not 100%, but I think Nuke might have even had that ultimate up for the entirety of that fight. I needed to double check, which means that, like, if he was actually able to be present for that fight with how low G2 were with the Adam combo, that could have been it.
Nice size from Hansama. Dashes back over the wall, trying to turn that back onto ice. But it's a good call out, Dagda. You're completely correct. Nuke and Sheo were looking for the setup, trying to find the angle. Then Nuke backs off, Sheo continues to step forward, and that's when G2 pounced on the fight. And Betty, while it's comedic that Mickey didn't make it over the wall, it actually stops Ice from doing damage and ends up being the better play in the context of the fight. Broken Blade, though, now chasing onto Sheo. Sheo going to try to make it out to safety, just barely getting away from that tornado. As G2 taking full control of the top side. And while earlier I said, hey, losing out on tempo, G2's comp's going to feel pretty tough to play. When they've got a lead like this and they can bully away from that tornado damage and ends up being the better play in the context. Continues to step forward, and that's when G2 pounced on the fight. And Betty back onto ice, but it's a good.
Needed to double check, which means that, like, if he was actually able to be present,
Ice getting chunked here actually loses them mid-turret. Like, he walks up for this and misses his chain of corruption. Now he's 50% HP. which means that he actually has to back off this turret
Looks like he doesn't want to overcommit
and
the play.
gets it in range for Herald to be used potentially.
BDS, I like the idea, the TP into the mid lane. They have the Orianna Shockwave, but it only connects ult.
The arrow is crucial. And while earlier I said, hey, losing out on tempo, G2's comp's going to feel pretty tough to play. They've got a lead. Like
So there's the damage coming in. Lilia's right there. Grab Braum. Braum gets in the way. Pulled back by Kalista ult. Adam going to be ulted. His Mega Gnar's running out.
Trying to free fire. A brief moment where the Braum Unbreakable is down, and they're going to try to find a little bit more damage back. Ice, not good. LeBron looking to fish, but immediate pullback from the ulti. Adam now coming in, has locked up the Kalista. Ice trying to free fire. A brief
Yeah, they don't actually get very much done with the shockwave there, though. Looks like they really only hit Mickey.
A little bit more damage back. Ice not connecting. The arrow is crucial there. Already one going down. Tower dropping on the bottom side in the meantime. 2 quick kills picked over to the side of G2 Esports. Caps.
He chooses not to ult. Looks like he doesn't want to overcommit the play. They know the dragon is up, and that's their objective.
Did you know Rapid Star is APA's positional coach? Yeah, I did. And so why don't we have any Lux or Anivia? Huh? Where are those picks?
That oncoming onslaught, and then they can just focus down Adam, who is the only target that is really any real threat to them. So we'll look back at this re-engage. The Hex Flash over the wall looks like a good collapse possibility, but keep your eyes on Hans here. A good ultimate from Adam, but then the wall acting as Mickey, then the shockwave doesn't quite connect. Only hits on the Mickey.
Yeah, it only hits Mickey. That's G2 gets such crazy value compared to BDS. The Mega Gnar and the shockwave just don't work out.
So there was no real way to try
damage. Eyes on Hans here. A good ultimate from Adam, but then the wall acting as Mickey, then the shockwave doesn't quite connect. Only hits on the Mickey, and then Adam has to lose his life. Yike then doing enough damage. LeBron, yeah, a good is the only target.
Why did the Mega Gnar not hit there?
But keep your eyes on Hans here. A good ultimate from Adam, but then
Oh, it did. The Mega Gnar did hit on someone, but he's able just to use Kalista to bounce out afterwards. Not a good shockwave.
and then Adam has to lose his life. Yike
Can
doing
coaches hear the
damage.
comms? I believe so.
Probably wasn't expecting that to actually get that extra kill, making it a 2 for nothing and a drag in the boot.
Also, the Mickey knockup prevented the wall up from Adam. So there was no real way to try and keep Kansama locked up after the initial Gnar had gone into the wall. So big upset coming through there with Mickey being able to disrupt that. So nicely done. Where then Hans doesn't even have to burn cleanse to try and get away from that fight. Still has it now. Flash going to be up soon as well. And as you start to look towards things like, look, I know it's 19 and a half or 18 and a half minutes, but barring in a minute 20.
Lethality Varus.
We've seen the G2
It'd be really, really rough into the Braum
objectives as well this series. So
and the wind wall.
nicely done by the G2 bot lane to keep themselves nicely topped up.
Yeah. Well, mask items going to feel very good this stage of the game. Both the Riftmaker and the Leandri's Torment. He hurts, as LeBron found out in the previous fight. And now he's driving his way down the mid lane. They really want to break this mid lane tower. Should just be able to grab it here. Mickey X with the Unbreakable still up and available. Hansama with the ulti as well, it looks like.
Oh.
Not going to be forced to use it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he actually didn't use the ult there. Instead, Mickey chooses to flash away. I'm pretty sure it is up. But alright, fair enough. They hold on to it for now. Mickey not going to be too upset with losing his flash, given that he does have the Kalista ultimate still. But G2 find themselves with a gold lead once again. It feels like BDS. One of the biggest things you said about them is opportunities, right? Yeah. And the 5 in favor of BDS. And they're going to need to find that optimal setup to force G2 into that scenario, because unless Nuke can land that shockwave onto those optimal targets, it's going to be difficult to navigate their way around, especially with this prancing Yike who's just going to consistently do that DPS. The ever-moving Hansama, like the Yasuo that's waiting for the knockup, right? It's an obnoxious comp to play into.
And I think for BDS, it's a tough reckoning to face down, right? Because something that you have been so good at against the vast majority of teams in our league, G2 are also good at. They're also good at picking good fights. They recognize your windows of opportunity and are not willing to just give them to you. BDS's mid game is good, much better than just about everybody else's in our league, but definitely not better than G2's, and that's putting them in a really tough spot, because G2 say, you want to fight right now? Great. We're going to wait for Orianna to back up, and in that split second, we're going to pull the trigger because we recognize that's your moment of weakness. And BDS haven't been contested like that against most teams.
But I also want to draw attention to the way like G2 are playing at the moment, because what you'll often see is when you have a blitzcrank on the opposite team, it's very difficult for you to try and contest for like deeper vision, right? But G2 are never trying to overextend in these moments, but they're also constantly hiding where BB and Caps are on the map. So watch, as soon as these waves get pushed in, there's no vision in the river, There's no vision really in their own bot side jungle, so all the BB and Caps are doing is just rotating out a lane, TP to try and match that play. So it's becoming very difficult for BDS to try and find these windows where they can play off of a Blitzcrank hook to get them back into this game, even though that is always a possibility.
That's so annoying. Adam's just walking mid and he gets hit by a Lily.
It's a little comedic where Ice is like, oh, graciously sidestep, and the Yordle just walks in and just eats.
Also, we do have to say, he made a big deal about Kenny. He doesn't go for Kenny Roof.
No, interesting. Hollow Radiance.
So Infinity Edge done as well for Yasuo means that he's now a side
Okay,
lane.
two Adam Yasuo now on the side lane as well.
And Randuin's is going to feel like a good counter.
Side lanes and push very deep.
Will just be a sole point here. G2 just playing this very methodically.
To group up with the team. BDS are looking to use their numbers to force control over this wave, and if they can unlock this tower, then it makes accessing the river that much easier. But now with numbers, let's see what they can do.
TP coming in
TP from behind. BDS, what's the call? Double TP now coming in. Caps immediately going to go in.
Okay, Mikhail's used from Lilia. Sleep.
Broken Blade immediately into the backline. Adam trying to disengage as quickly as he can, but both carries are scattered. They can't even get a chance to do any damage whatsoever. G2 trying to break through the front line. Yasuo down. Clean coming in from LeBron to finish off the kill there, but Caps goes in. Hitting 2 with the Q3.
The chase down is so crazy from Callisto, Lilia, and Cassante.
It doesn't matter. That's a damn powerful pick.
I was watching the end of that fight going, G2, you're only 3 members. There are 4 on BDS, and they're starting to reunite. They're starting to find their opportunity to turn around. And Caps goes, nah, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to go in. I'm going to absolutely destroy you. Yike, dealing so much damage on this Lilia. And just like that, G2 are able to pick up the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that was a really good fight for BDS. Right?
Yeah.
No, the sustained damage from Riftmaker on this super fed Lilia.
Just get to your tower, you'll be
So
fine.
good.
You can then reset, make your way back out onto the map. You can contest the dragon, even threaten the Baron. You have a lot of options. This is an overstep from G2. And we look at the start of this. Ice actually gets away to safety here. Flashes away. The ultimate doesn't connect. The Guardian procs. Gets away from the Yasuo. He's looking good. BDS gets that initial kill. Then the Yasuo drops. And it's at this point you're thinking, okay, as long as BDS can disengage, they're fine. But then Cap sits there and goes, hey, want to see me Cassante? He gets a 2-man knockback. Closes the game.
Very
to
nice.
Ice.
Oof.
And in a 3 versus 4 closeout to the fight, G2 end up closing it out.
And I think the big thing there is that single moment of overconfidence where BDS stepped back into that brush, costing them dearly. G2 now just trying to force another fight. Sheo's ult coming up just in time. Knock up there. Good start, Yike. Buys a moment. Will it be enough? Damage follow-up. Nice shockwave onto 2. Caps waiting.
Good shockwave on a Hansama.
Out to safety, still standing. Broken Blade trying to turn this one back, just dashing, getting a bit more room. Knock up there.
Broken Blade?
Probably just gonna die for it.
You did not have to do that.
Sheo's ult coming up just in time. Knock up there. Good start, Yike.
So take care. The Drake's been up this whole time, guys, by the way.
Shockwave onto 2. Caps waiting for a chance to go over the wall. Hansama flashing out to safety, still standing. Broken Blade trying to turn this one back, just dashing, getting a bit more room. Knock up there. Broken Blade immediately gonna ult.
Maybe we just run away. I don't know.
No reason to commit back in. Cripplum healing coming in. BDS looking
He hit the tornado knockup and had to press R, guys.
Finally, BDS punished the over-aggression from G2. Sheo tanks up so much damage, initially looking like he's caught out, but he has the ultimate to buy enough time. Broken Blades, and now they've alleviated some of the pressure that G2 have been putting down all game.
And that's just the perfect spot for BDS to fight, right? You have multiple different opportunities to spread out. Nuke can go one way, Ice goes another. You get great control of that choke zone as you start to come through with Ice and Nuke's ultimates. We got to see it there where Hansama gets caught out by it. Like, that was not the position that you want to be fighting as G2. And as you say, it's just overconfidence from G2 right now.
Open to Mickey. Adam can just fall off and lay down a bunch of CC. Should be an easy kill onto him. Flashing back out, but Ice gives him a little present on his way out, sends him straight to the grave.
Nicely done. Another good punish, and we can see the overconfidence starting to rear its head from G2. We've seen them.
Where's the Reaper 1v9 VOD review of IEM Cologne? We might do that in the offseason.
Moving forward in this game, but BDS, they're holding strong, and they're finding good opportunities to punish this G2 squad. That Baron, only a 700 gold lead in favor of G2.
And we said it earlier, when BDS...
The Gnar won't carry, I guess? No. Did we think the Gnar was going to carry?
In the first fight that allowed G2 to come out on top, G2 get over-eager in the second, and BDS are quick to remind them of that. Even quicker to remind Mickey. He's got no business being in that jungle without Hans in the area to kind of bail him out. trickier now for G2. Yes, they have a sizable gold lead, but again, when it comes to team fights, things only get easier for BDS as Nuke gets more and more damage under his belt.
And look at this, Yike, no flash. Hansama, no flash. Mickey, no flash. Caps, his flash should be up the next time you expect to fight, whereas BDS's summoners all coming back off. So if BDS can find a window while these summoner spells are down, it's a very good opportunity for them to come out ahead in this next fight. The only problem for them is there's no real objective for them to fight over. Dragon is still 3 minutes away. By that time, you're likely going to see all these summoner spells back up. But I'd love to see BDS try and force something in this window where they have a clear summoner spell advantage.
It's so hard when you got like Yasuo who's going to control side lanes, trying to get that push. You can try and maybe look for a hook here with Labrov as G2 try and get vision, but with the amount of control that G2 have on the map, trying to be the ones to force a fight is really, really difficult when you're behind like this. So I don't know how BDS, unless they just like keep ping-ponging waves until next dragon where you fish for it. But I think there is an argument for BDS when it gets towards next dragon to go like, hey, we're gonna actually play for Baron vision. Because I think the best way for you to beat G2 in this scenario is to like have them come in blind into you and try and set up, but we're gonna hold on to this point.
Cap stepping forward, trying to isolate Nuke. Looking for the knockback. Shockwave pulls away here. Flash away from the Q3. Cap's looking to flash follow. Walking a bit too far. Cap's just gonna wander away. Should be
Caps?
now. Ice, nice dash back.
It doesn't matter. He's Cassante. Oh no, he had Q3. Oh wow. Woo.
No, he is not allowed to do that. Caps was inting. Okay, Caps he was making a mistake.
Yes, he walked in, he took 30 tower shots, he still lived, decided now I will be squishy, and one shot's Nuke.
Oh, I feel so bad for Nuke there. Like, Nuke outplayed Caps.
Yeah.
He was doing everything right, and he still died.
That's just unfair.
But that is so frustrating.
A bunch of money for Ice, and again, G2 have
Ridiculous. Ridiculous that he wins that.
So BDS
Especially considering he only has Hollow Radiance. Ah, yes, the classic. Oh, gets Kalista ulted into Yasuo ult into dead.
Get to play the game. It just didn't. And this is kind of what G2 do, right? It's like, hey, look, Caps managed to go 1-for on top side. All right, let's just be annoying and look for a pick in your off of this bush as well. Yeah.
So the flash away from the knockback, and it's this flash that's the ultimate mistake, because now Cassante should be in a really horrible spot, right? The slow is applied well. Oriana's trying to keep the spacing, but that still connects. I guess if Oriana was slightly further away, just let the Varus try and finish him off, then it would have been fine.
Crazy thing is he still had the Q3.
Varus here as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is...
And Cat's like, yeah, just another Sunday for me.
I mean, got in range for the ult. So you can fault Nuke there, maybe a little bit too close. But, yeah, Cassante, Broken Blade, nice, trying to isolate Ice backsteps! Ulti coming in! Oh, Broken Blade is in his head. I don't know how he speaks Korean, but that was a mind read play right there.
Goes from Ice in the veins to BB in the veins. That's how it goes, yeah. But G2, trying to see now if they can set up for the Dragon. The fact that you get that flash coming through from Ice makes it significantly easier now for you to go to that objective. You have Hansama's our ultimate, I believe, is just going to be back up. This is where they should try and play for Baron Vision. If you have G2 trying to contest you here...
I'm sad that we haven't seen the Lilia setup into knockup, but that is very hard to execute, to be fair.
And just trying to full-on contest the vision that G2 already have established is just way too difficult.
Ah, yes, the Desperation Baron. Here we go.
Caps waiting off to the side. Yike is terrifying. Grouping against Yike is a horrifying prospect. BDS, where are they going to go? What is the actual call here? Right now, they're just being
Adam's almost mini, so now G2 should just start Baron.
Broken Blade, though. So the question is, how did G2 respond? Flash, response.
Trying to force to Labrov. Knock up only onto Labrov for now, but he's going to be in trouble. Instant Unbreakable to stop any potential follow-up here. Ice just trying to disengage. Caps continuing to walk forward, taking absolutely zero damage. Swirl Seed connecting onto one. Sleep down onto Ice. Broken Blade.
Oh my god.
But he's going to be in trouble. Instant Unbreakable to stop any potential follow-up here. Ice just trying to disengage. Caps continuing to walk forward, taking absolutely zero damage. Swirl.
I love that they use the Kalista ult just for the Yasuo ult right here. Into the asleep. Has to be cleansed. What a slaughter.
Good shutdown. Yike continuing to move in. G2 gets so much on the back of that. Adam's going to go mega, but it's just too late.
A little bit of happy gaming from Caps and G2 here, but another pretty solid win for them. Another draft that was very exciting. Why do we keep giving Hansama Kalista?
For Mickey, the wind wall is going to be there for Yasuo too to stop any potential follow-up. Cap stepping forward and body blocking. Labrov on the way in. If he doesn't hook someone back into the fountain, I don't see how they're possibly going to make this work. G2 focused on
G2 are just inevitable, man.
Is to finish this
something happen around the Baron.
Fun series so far, though. I'm enjoying this.